Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us.
My pleasure, thank you.
Can you just tell us quickly, what's your experience like writing a big Marvel film?
You know, telling the story, I've been writing movies since I was 9 years old, you know, for my mom, for my friends, shooting movies in the backyard. It doesn't change, it's just a bigger sandbox. I think you need to be able to dream, you need to be able to take risks, and you need to be able to make movies with your friends to understand that when you do start telling stories on a bigger scale, the same things matter. What do the characters want? What do they need? Do you love them? Do you want to see them change? You know, that stuff is true of a small movie that you make in your backyard, and it's true of a gigantic movie that plays all over the world.
What type of movies then got you into the writing industry?
That's a great question. I mean, truth be told, I grew up watching foreign films almost exclusively. City of God, Amelie, movies that took me somewhere else. I always wanted to be transported. That's really the gift of cinema. It lets you live other lives. You know, you sit down, you watch a movie for 2 hours, what is it like to be a space god for 7,000 years? That's our movie. That's the question where this started, you know, this whole movie started. So every time you tell a story, it's like, where are you taking an audience? Where are you transporting them? And even if it's a $20 movie you make on an iPhone, or a $20 million or a $200 million movie, those rules stay the same. It's, can you take your audience somewhere they've never been before?
I want to be transported to wherever the Eternals are now.
It's pretty badass. You know, it wasn't on the cosmic universe. We wanted to tell a story that took you to places you hadn't seen before in the MCU. I was a classics minor. I studied archaeology and Greek mythology.
It must have helped with the research for this.
It was a match made in heaven. You know, I tell stories about families. I tell stories about people who are damaged by trauma, by their pasts. And so right away when we were approached by Marvel to talk about this movie, I sort of knew what this film had to be. About a family coming together, a family coming apart. It's about people who are damaged by all the weight of their pasts. And most importantly, it's about taking people in somewhere they haven't seen and having this family be challenged by those journeys.
Wow, that's amazing. The way you were able to tell so many different people's stories, because all of these are very different people. They have very different lives. How do you go about creating whole people and not just one-dimensional characters?
I mean, there's a joke and a rule about creating characters is you first think about what they want, and then you think about what they need. And I think with 10 new characters, it's both a gift and an immense challenge to introduce 10 new heroes to the MCU, to make you fall in love with them, to make audiences care about these characters. And I hope we pulled it off. I think that there's some really special talent that really we give the characters souls and the actors give them life, you know?
Ooh, I'm going to have to quote you, and I'm going to have to keep that one.
Please quote the whole thing. Yes, yeah.
Final question then. If you could tell the audience to take one thing from this movie, what would that be?
This is a film that celebrates all the differences in humanity. You know, these Eternals, they're gods, but really they're just like us. You know, they look different, they love differently, and that's really important to remember, that the things that make us different are the things that make us all the same.